We are so grateful to have you here at the summer program for undergraduate research, mentor orientation. We want to thank you all for being here. You've probably been receiving lots of communications from Angie, and we just want to give her a shout out for being a rock star. We'll have her introduce herself one more time, just in case if you've not met Angie in a minute. But just as a reminder, yes, hand claps, thank you, Professor Haber. But this is a virtual meeting, and this meeting is being recorded. And we do like to acknowledge the land that feeds and sustains us, that this land is a traditional and ancestral homeland of the Shoshone, Paiute, Goshute, and Ute tribes. And so we recognize our enduring relationship between the university and Native communities. And if you're wondering, I don't think any of you are wondering, but just in case, my name is Dr. Annie Isabel Fukushima. I'm Associate Dean of Undergraduate Studies. I also have the wonderful job of running the Office of Undergraduate Research, and I'm joined by Angie, who will introduce herself.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Angie Leva. I'm a program coordinator here. And so if you haven't met me before, I am the person that has been sending you a lot of emails, and you'll be getting lots more emails from me throughout the year regarding SPUR.
Yeah. So, yeah, wonderful. And one thing I just wanted to let you all know that we do not do this work alone. Our other members of the OUR team are not here, but we do it in collaborations with Cindy Greaves, our Associate Director. You'll also see running the events during the summer, Shelley Parker. We also have our scholarships through Sarah Cody, and Cade Farragut is really out in the front doing outreach. And we also hire undergraduate research leaders to work with the office, which is an FYI, if you have any students who do research and are looking for additional employment opportunities for next year, we are actually hiring. So I just wanted to give a plug for the office. We are hiring for next year, and if they want to work in the summer, they are also welcome in the interview to suggest that. But we are an Office of Undergraduate Research, and we're housed in undergraduate studies, whose commitment is from admission to graduation to provide every student with an exceptional educational experience. Next. And our mission is to facilitate student faculty collaborative research and creative works across the disciplines. We do that work because of all of you. And so I just really want to thank you all for being here. We cannot do this work without our faculty mentors and the mentoring teams that you have supporting your efforts. And so before we get started, we do love good news. If you want to share some good news, go ahead and we'll just go ahead and either you can chat it or you can just unmute yourself, because this is a nice group over here if you want to share any good news. We love starting our meetings with good news. Anyone want to share good news? And I guess by good news, we mean about your undergrads, usually your undergraduate researcher, because I'm sure there's all kinds of good news in your life that may be happening, but we're talking about your undergraduate researchers or undergraduate students. Yes, that's wonderful. Professor Haber, you published with your three amazing undergraduate researchers as co-authors. I'm sure you are nominating those wonderful undergraduate researchers for the Outstanding Undergraduate Research Award. Professor Linder says, I have two who will be giving oral presentations at the HCI session and at UCUR. Wonderful. We will see them at UCUR. We usually send a wonderful team. Actually, I think the whole team is going this year because it's right there up the street from us. So we'll be at Weber to support your students, take photos of them, and say hello. Any other good news folks want to share? It's not a competition. We just love sharing good news. Oh, great. So more at UCUR. Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you, Dave, for sharing that as well. Sorry, Professor Simons. I'm getting informal with some of you. I should be consistent over there. Professor Takahashi says, had a SPUR student a few years ago, and oh my goodness, it got the NSF. That is wonderful. Those are very competitive. And now a PhD at University of North Carolina. That is wonderful. Very competitive. And Professor Linder's working with another to turn the honors thesis into a publication. Look at those ambitious young folks going from research to publication, really mentoring across the research process. We'll just keep, if there's other good news, please share it. Angie will take note of these, and maybe we might want to ask you to share a link or two of your publications, especially. We will be already promoting them if they're at UCUR, so don't worry about that. But if there's any good news, we want to make sure that we promote that to our social networks and all of that. So one of the things that I do like to say, oh, and okay, great. One of the things that I do like to say about undergraduate research is that undergraduate research is a public good, and what we know about the research in higher education environments is that oftentimes entering into higher education environments, this may be the first and only experience people in our community may have with higher education institutions. And so they become ambassadors of our institutions because of the very experiences that they have here at our institution. One of the things we also know is that our students become anchors for institutions, but they also then take the skills that they learn into community. And so this is not just about developing very specific skills. It's about, building people who are part of society and for life. And so I want to thank you all for being part of that journey. And you all already know undergraduate research matters and that mentoring matters. You're all helping your students with skills building. You are part of their retention to graduation. We're going to share some of the trends. We do like to share this with our mentors just so you're aware of some of the success you have with supporting students, as well as we know that by participating in the research that they do with you, that students are making decisions about their careers.
We're going to go into an overview of SPUR. And so SPUR, Summer Program for Undergraduate Researchers. And so what this program is, and so it is a nationally competitive opportunity in which students, researchers are applying to work with our faculty. So all of you selected here today to work with you individually with you on your projects. And so this summer, the program is going to run from May 19th through July 31st here at the University of Utah. And so the faculty, you all here today, you are going to provide recommendations of top 6 students that in your application packets that you have all received today. And I just want to make note, some of you have been reaching out to me. You might have been experiencing some issues accessing your box folders. If that is the case, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help troubleshoot any issues you may be having. But yeah, so out of those students that you have received application packets for, you will rank order the top 6 students. And then from there, we will talk about that process. That email that I did send, just a reminder that those recommendations are going to be due February 20th. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can email either myself or Dr. Fukushima. More than happy to help.
Wonderful. That's perfect. All right. So we'll just keep on going. I think that one of the things about we just want to remind you all is that SPUR is not a remote program, a remote research program. We do, and what we see in the student experiences, and Angie's happy to share with you all the wonderful stories around their experiences, is that when students actually come and they're in person and they're in this like really lively in-person community, it really does shape their experience. They make friends for life for some of them, and then maybe build a professional network just by being here on campus. And we do have expectation that faculty are on site. But we also know that sometimes you have summer research travel plans. And so please do consult with us if there is going to be some summer research plans. We do want to make sure that the student is set up for success. And what we have seen in the past is that when a faculty mentor is offsite and remote for a majority of the summer, is that it may actually impact the student's sense of support in their research experience. And so really do consult with us if you have any questions and you plan to be out of state for part of the summer, and happy to talk with you offline. We don't need to make this a forum for that conversation. So we do like to share with you some of the data about our students. And we do share this information about our in our annual reporting, some of the general information, maybe not this broken down. So please do not recirculate in this interesting time that we live in. But what we know is that last year, 21% of our students were first generation, and 61% were female identifying, as well as 36% were BIPOC, and 33% of our students were honors. And so we do like to see that by you mentoring undergraduate researchers, you may be ensuring the whole dynamic of diversity that is needed to ensure dynamic research futures. One thing I do like to check in with you all about as you're thinking. So Angie's already told you about the kind of you've gotten your packets, you saw that email, and you are going to be making decisions. And of course, we're like, you know what, we're going to make an unbiased decision, but we do want to just make sure that we highlight some things to ensure that we're really critically reflecting on your process as you make this important decision about the one, or some of you may have funds to do two if you are purchasing a spot, which we can always talk about at the end. If you want to actually have two students or three, that would be amazing. But one of the things we just want to remind you is to critically reflect on your own knowledge and position in social structures, and how your own experiences shapes your mentoring practice, but also maybe even your decision in with student selection. And we'll talk a little bit about this. And so some of the things, for example, is we know that there might be perceptions as you receive those CVs about the student GPA. It does not necessarily mean that a high GPA is an indication of a student's success, or that if they get tons of research awards in the past, that they will be successful. We know that, and we see this a ton in higher education environments, is we oftentimes award the awarded. And that also, and so just want to kind of remind you about those things, is that those might be good things to note, but they may not be the only criteria of the qualities that you need in the researcher for your specific projects. And so we really want to invite you to ask yourself, what are the skills you need? And, look at those statements very closely and letters of recommendations to see, is it really speaking to the skills and traits that you need in your undergraduate researchers? So for example, if you really need, somebody to work independently because you're going to be meeting them regularly, but not meeting them every day. And we have found that in our, even when we do a quick, invite to all of our students about how often do they meet with their mentors and their teams, it varies. Some of them meet with their mentors once a week. Some of them meet with them every day, right, while they're doing the research. And this will kind of depend on your research structure and how you do research. And so if you need a student who's really independent and works well with independence, you might want to look for those kind of qualities. If you're going to be having them doing writing, working on writing, then you might want to be looking for those kind of skills as well. And if you need like some basic fundamental, like, skills with, engineering or, mathematics and what have you, statistics, then those are the things you're going to want to look for. But also keep in mind that volunteer experience, work experience, and persistence in life may actually bolster your project. And so don't rule those out as some of the strengths that they might be able to bring to your team. And so consider the whole student. Look for those keywords that you might really need from curious. We've heard from mentors that some of them do like those kinds of students who are curious problem solvers. If you are a team-based research, that really matters, then for your team dynamics, then maybe you're going to be looking for somebody who has strong experiences working in a team. Otherwise, just keep in mind, if they've never worked in a team, you're going to be their first time doing it probably, right? As well as, do you need somebody who's detail oriented, a strong writer, has experiences with lit review and so forth. And so also the other thing we like to just say is that, I know that we oftentimes lean on our networks for strong references, that we trust those networks. That can be a asset, but it also might mean that you may not be considering someone strongly if you don't know their reference or letter writers. And so just think about the whole thing. And so we really encourage you to just really reflect on all of that. And so forth. And if you have worked with a student in the past, we do require that they put in a full application, which we haven't had any, well, if we had, Angie kicked it back to them to resubmit what they needed. But that's the reason why, is because we want to make sure that you're equally considering all students, regardless if you've worked with them in the past. And so maybe consider that if you have worked with a student who's applied with you, that you may have some bias, whether it's positive or it may work against them. And so I'll really try to mitigate all of that as best as you can. Some of the things, and Angie's going to drop in a link here when she has a chance, or you'll also get these slides afterwards. And so some of the things that you might want to consider is, using a rubric. We give you a very simple to use numerical rubric that is just suggested, but obviously you can make the rubric much more complicated for yourself and not complicated for yourself. That might not be the right word, but, more complex in how you are scoring. We've seen a range of scoring from 0 to 25 to if you want to just do it liker, up to you what scales you're using. We're not going to tell you, but when you download this, and we don't need to like break it down, Angie, we don't need to screen share it because they've all seen rubrics before. They are professors. We love rubrics. We see them everywhere. And so just consider making a rubric also for how you consider your candidates. And actually, we recommend you do it before you start looking at them. Don't do it afterwards. Do it before. So then that way you've already got in your mind what it is that you need. But feel free to use ours. Some of the things you might want to consider is that what are the fundamental skills that you're going to need for your research over the 10 weeks. And so if you do need like coding experience or experience with SPSS, because it's going to make things a little faster, then really think about that. You also might want to think about if you are going to be doing anything that has human subjects, protocols, IRB, if that would help your project to have somebody who's already had that experience ramp up and just get started, great. But if not, then just keep in mind that they will be then doing their development while they work with you. And so just consider all of those things before you start to look at the applications. And so, actually, Angie, is this where I pass it to you? So Angie's going to start talking a little bit more about the logistics for making decisions, which is, really important because you've all gotten emails. And just know, I did see some about like requests to access the file. So if you're one of those, please, you don't need to raise your hand. Just send Angie an email, and she will be on it if you're having issues accessing the box file. Just send her an email. She's really on it. But Angie, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Fukushima. So yeah, we've talked about this before, but you should have all received emails that have links to your box files. In each of your box files, there's also the rubrics that we make for you. Dr. Fukushima talked about this. Feel free to use those. If you don't, it's totally okay. But all of those rubrics also include all of the students and the institutions that those students come from. All of that information is listed on there in case it makes it easier if you want to just see, where these students come from, if that helps you make a decision too. We just want to make this process easier for you. But if any information is missing, again, please contact me. More than happy to help you out. But these selections, based off of the students that you are reviewing, you're going to rank order your top 6. The form is linked here. You should have also all received a link to it as well in the email, but we will ask you to rank order your top 6 selections to us. That'll be due February 20th. And again, any issues, contact us. I know in the past that the question has come up, are you able to, contact students to schedule interviews? Yes, you can. But if you do so, we do ask that, you should then interview, all of the students. That might be a lot harder to do. Some of you have a lot of students that have applied for your project, so that just might not be feasible. So just something to think about. But something to also note in the applications, we do have partnerships with other programs. So students have also indicated in their applications if they are not selected for SPUR, so not selected to work with you, they have also indicated that they may be interested in working with any of our other program partners. That we will be sharing those applications with those programs. However, those programs they are not going to be able to contact those students until you all have made your decisions. So you will all have the priority. And then after those decisions have been made, we will share those with our program partners. So in case you're all interested or curious about how that process works.
And Angie, I just want to say really quickly about the interviewing all candidates. Like you're not required to do it. We just want to mitigate the bias. And so just really think about if you only interview a few, consistently interview all of those few, but also consider the fact that then in those other candidates, because you've not interviewed them, then you may have missed things about them that you just didn't get to know and see based on interviewing the few. So, yeah, we don't want to require things, but we just want to highly encourage how you mitigate that bias again.
And so before offers are going to be made, you are all going to send that rank order to us. Then we will send you all an order of how we are going to be making offers to students. So we will send you, the first student, second student, and then third. So first student is going to be the one we make an offer to. If that student declines, then we will then move on to the second student, so on and so forth. Assuming the first student does not accept the offer. Once a student is selected, and final decisions are made by the OUR committee, OUR will then begin to contact those students with offers in the beginning of March. When we do so, you will all be CC'd in those emails, in those offers. We ask that you don't contact students about decisions. However, you can contact them after an offer has been made if you believe that'll help them say yes. You may also find it helpful to, give them more information about the project, answer any questions they may have, things like that. But if any updates come up, we will keep you all in the loop. If a student declines, if they, accept anything like that, you will all be made aware of any updates like that.
Angie's really good, and for those who are returning mentors, you have seen that she's really good at communicating when she moves on to your second and third choice, if the first choice should decline, or the number one, two, and three. I also just want to say that we try our best to match first choice for both mentor and mentee. It doesn't always happen because some students are incredibly competitive and multiple people's first choice. And so I just want to put it out there because sometimes we get like emails that look like they're kind of yelling at us, and I get it. People are very much committed to their first choice. And so we just want to let you know that's usually why you may not get your first choice is because there is a competing first choice, and we're having to randomly make decisions about where the student might go, knowing that there's a whole program of many students as well. So we'll try our best, and so just please be generous with us if you don't like what we kick back to you, and we will try our best to negotiate and think through things. Okay?
So moving along, now we're going to talk about
Oh
supporting
yeah,
undergraduate researchers and considerations. So Dr.
wonderful.
Fukushima, yeah, back to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Before we move into mentoring scaffolding, I just want to just pause and see, do you have any questions about the logistics? We're going to now get into like preparing for your summer researcher, because we know that as you're thinking about choosing them and all of that, we don't want to delay this process of also giving information. So let's just pause. Yeah, Rogelio, go ahead.
Thanks. Maybe I missed it in the description. Do we hand in the rubric template as justifications for our rank choice orderings?
You do not need to give us any of how you make your decision. We just like Angie will send to you all these links and the PowerPoint. We just like to recommend you use a rubric so you're consistent. But we honestly aren't going to tell you how to do your job. I do find using rubrics a little bit easier since you're going to find Rogelio, they're all amazing, and you're going to
Oh,
want
I
them all.
agreed. My experience on
Yeah,
hiring committees has told me
yeah,
this very much. Yeah.
yes, yes. Matt.
Yeah, thank you. I may have missed it if you said it. I'm curious if you recommend against or for or a neutral with letting your lab look at some of the applicants or looking at
Oh,
the applicants and helping you think about who might be a good fit for the lab.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so these students are applying to work with you, and one of the things you just want to really consider is privacy around student information. And so you are welcome to share the general contents, but I would really encourage you not to share contact information with your group. But research group does it's not uncommon for research groups to make decisions together. So just keep in mind if your students in your lab have not done a FAIRPA training, then they may not be a person to access all the full buffet of an application. And so you will have to then parse out what they can view. All right. Any other questions before we move on, preparing and scaffolding for these lovely researchers that you're going to want them all? All right, we'll keep going. And if you have questions, I want to invite you all to just go ahead and raise your hand as we're giving the presentation slides, as well as to use the chat feature. I don't want you to feel like you have to wait until the very end for your question to be answered. So let's just, if you have questions as things are popping up, go ahead and use the raise hand feature or the chat so we can make sure we answer your questions as we start to move forward. One of the things we want to make sure you are thinking about is preparing and scaffolding for your mentee before they come. And so whether they are a U of U student or a student who's coming from across the country, we want to prepare for them. And you are doing the work of helping them to think like a researcher, metacognition, and you are by the very nature of mentoring them into whether it's a research team of two to a research team of many, you're helping them to feel like they belong to a research academic community in your particular field. And so we really want you to think about this process. And so there are models of thinking about research cycle and embedding the learning cycle. I do like to share this with our research mentors and our faculty mentors because, it is the whole pipeline that you are enfolding your students into the research cycle. And even though it's 10 weeks, they will be coming in at different stages of it, but they could be collaborators and co-authors throughout the research process, right? And so we just want you to really think about this from experiment, experience, reflection, conceptualization. These are all part of the research cycle as well. Next slide. Just as a reminder, and students are vary in ages in life. The average age of the University of Utah student is between 22 and 24. And so just keep that in mind as you think about who they are in their identity, their development, and how they think about community and adulthood and all of that, and that they may be in an active exploration of who they are in the world. And so just know that you're fostering a person who may be coming into being into adulthood to a range of age, and we are not making decisions based on age, but just keeping in mind that who we are in our full humanity matters. Next slide. Yeah, so one thing I do like to encourage all of our mentors to do is to revisit your mentoring philosophy. You did a wonderful job of submitting your mentor philosophies so then we could promote you. So thank you for doing that work. But revisit it, make sure there's consistency both in your philosophy and your practice and your decision making. Next slide. We do offer examples and templates of mentor-mentee agreements. I know that in the summer, Angie does request these to be signed and submitted by your mentee. So they will have that as our first week assignment. And so we want to make sure that you are aware of that. You are welcome to rework our mentor-mentee agreements. So don't feel like what we give you is legally binding. We give you a document that you can use, but you can also, maybe you have your own mentor-mentee agreements, and those are totally fine to use. Just consider when we share with you ours, if there's anything missing from yours that you might consider adding. And if you have feedback to give to ours and say you should really consider adding this to your mentor-mentee agreement, we welcome your suggestions too. Next slide. So as you prepare for the summer, some of the things that you should think about is, the students are instructed to email you. If there's anything, they should arrive being prepared to work. Now, again, they are not paid before they start. And so this is just to create the enthusiasm of, here's, some, readings that I love, or, these are the things you might look into because I'm so excited to work with you. But generally, the expectation is they don't get to start to work until that start date that Angie started this conversation with when I pass the baton to her. So just keep in mind that their official work day is when they start, which Angie already shared with you. But consider things that you might share with them that might make them feel excited and not feel overwhelmed when they arrive. Because sometimes just coming into something without a transition, you're new, everything's new, might be a little overwhelming for this first time researcher, or maybe they've been doing a lot of research. So think about orientations, trainings, certifications, and all of that. You can always share that with them, but keep in mind that they may not start doing their work until they arrive as well. And you can share with them, and Angie will be sharing with them our outline of expectations and all that. And she'll be sharing that information with you as well. But, just think about the kinds of things that you might want to think about, but also think about when they arrive, where should they go? Who should they meet? Will it be you? Will it be someone in your team? Will they be showing up? And if you're traveling, kind of keep those in mind. It might actually impact their arrival to knowing who will greet them to their first day of work. So exciting, right? If you can't be there, then who will be there to greet them? Next slide. During the summer, you are to provide the student hands-on research experience. And as a reminder, they are being paid to do 35 to 40 hours of work per week. And that will include, we have the weekly education series, which we are going to talk a little bit about, that we are adapting into a badging program. Super excited to share that with you all. But they will have 1 hour that they spend with us, but the rest of the time will be with you. And so think about what will they be doing. And as you develop your agreements, think about the specific research tasks and expectations. And some of the recommendations is you're honest and straightforward about work timelines and how to work with you. I know that oftentimes when I have conversations with my research mentees is I talk about my communication style. My communication style in person is very different than my direct to the point email communication, because I am literally fielding millions of emails and I don't have time to put a happy face on every single email. And so you may find that you don't see the happy face, Dr. Fukushima or Annie, in an email. And so I do like to share that with them, that it doesn't mean I'm not smiling. It just means I did not have time to put that in there. And so just keep in mind those kinds of conversations, as well as if you need them to do certifications, whether it's animal research to human subjects, HIPAA. The office does do a Title IX training. We want to make sure that's embedded in our training. So for those of you that it's required that they do that as part of their NSF, NIH funded research, if you are part of those kinds of projects, and we also will be providing that as well. Next slide. So, the work is negotiated between you and your mentee. So just so you know how it works is that technically the Office of Undergraduate Research is a hiring supervisor. So we are responsible if your mentee experiences a work injury, Title IX issue, OEO, you need to pull us in if stuff like that happens, because we are the hiring supervisor, but you are the research supervisor. We are not going to enter that lane. We just know that that will be totally the thing that you do. And we encourage you to really talk through the expectations with your mentee. We do encourage, and Angie's going to share with your mentees how they might consider keeping their timelines, and as well as keeping track of their tasks. But you don't need to, again, use that if you have a better system that works. It's just highly encouraged that there's some form of documentation to hold the mentee, whoever you're going to be hiring, accountable. So Angie will share this stuff with you, but if you have your own versions of things, you're welcome to use it. But really think about it as a way to benchmark and help the student think about how they progress and feel good about the work that they're doing over the 10 weeks, because it's going to go very quickly. And again, if you are planning to travel, make sure that you connect with us, especially if you plan to be out of state. We do have these in here, and it's a lot of words on the page, but one of the things I want to remind you all is if you plan to have your mentee travel, whether it is to other parts of Utah, to out of state, sometimes our mentors have taken their undergraduate mentee to their research sites that have not been in Utah. Hey, good on you. That is so wonderful that you can do that. One of the things you should keep in mind is that they still have to adhere, because they are employees of the university, to our travel policies. And so there's some insurance safety information, as well as information about the Fair Labor Standard Act rules. And so we're going to share this with you. We just want to gentle nudge remind you that for your mentees, whatever you need to do for your own travel as an employee, your mentee also has to do as an employee. Next slide. So this is a schedule template. Angie will send this later. So here are some of our requirements, and this is not comprehensive. Angie, do you want to give them the run through of this?
Yeah, I absolutely can. And so these are definitely some things to keep in mind early on. We will be doing our own, well, there will be a mentor orientation that will be taking place on May 5th. Again, the students don't need to be there. It's not for them. But this will be May 5th, and that'll be at 12 p.m. We will be sending calendar invites forthcoming. So that is just something to keep in mind. But student move-in day, that will be on May 18th. And so this is not a official work day for the students. This is just literally the day that they will be, especially the ones that are coming in from out of state, that they will be moving into the housing. And so this upcoming summer, we do have housing available for those students at the Marriott Honors Community. And so they will be moving in at 2 p.m. on May 18th. And then on May 19th, that will be the first official work day. And so we will host our own orientation, and that'll be at 9 a.m. and that'll be at the Sill Center. And that is where OUR is located. And so that will be an in-person orientation. And in the past, we've welcomed mentors. It's not a secret what we do. So if you are wanting to attend, you are also more than welcome to attend that. But then immediately following that orientation, we do also have a campus and a library tour because we do know that many of our students are not from the University of Utah. And so it is just really helpful to have that so the students can just literally orient themselves to some of the amazing resources that we do have available here. And so we will have that immediately following the orientation. And then we also have the opening luncheon. And so this is for both you and your mentees. And so that will be happening from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. And that will be at the Gold Auditorium. And that is in the Marriott Library. And then,
Yeah. Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead, Dr. Fukushima. That was it.
Yeah, so one thing I just want to say is your student orientation really going to be more useful for them as employees. So it's going to be more logistical. So if you want to show, yes, as Angie says, you're welcome to. May not be the best use of your time, but we never turn anyone away. If you want to just come and grab a donut, that's totally fine too, and you can just do your thing. But the luncheon is really fun. And one thing I do want to emphasize about the luncheon, it's very sad when we have a mentee there and their mentor is not there with them. So please send somebody from your team or somebody from your office, or you join them, because otherwise, it really is just it's building a nice community, and we're not going to shame you if you can't make it because life happens. Many of you have very busy summer schedules, so we totally understand that. But do please, if you can make it, please make put it in your schedule. It's only February, already mark the day and time, so please do that. Thank you, Angie. Next slide. Yeah, does any, and yeah, just keep going. Yeah, we'll just keep going. Oh,
Yeah,
Dave's
there's a
hands
hand.
up. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, hi, thanks. That opening luncheon, is that the same one as for the program partners as well?
So this luncheon, yes, your students are invited. So AHA and you are all invited to this luncheon. And it's a wonderful luncheon launch. You were invited last year, right, Angie? They were
That is
invited.
correct.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure this was the same thing and that we weren't crashing a party.
Oh, no, no, no. We invite you as a partner because we are supporting your students as part of the same community, and that
Okay.
would be really sad to leave your students out of a lunch. And so, who doesn't like free lunch? So we invite you because we want to invite your mentees and have them be part of the community. It really is a lovely thing. Angie will probably lead us in an activity. You'll hear some quick, boring remarks from a few of us, but we try to keep the remarks really short. So yes,
Okay.
Dave. Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't worry, Dave. We will let you know if you're crashing anything, but so far you've not crashed anything. Um, great. Okay. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll keep on moving forward because time is precious. There are some tasks that you want to kind of keep in mind. I'm going to actually run through this, and I'm going to invite Angie to clarify if I've missed anything. So in the past, we used to do biweekly meetings plus an education series events that your students were required to attend. The education series were supposed to supplement their learning, and the biweekly meeting was supposed to be a way they built in community. We have now decided to do the education series in person once a week and that there is no biweekly meeting. And so that it only is once a week for an hour. Your students are getting their enhanced learning through a community together through content. What is really exciting is we are going to be partnering with the Marriott Library. So then your students are also going to be eligible after completing the education series that they would have been required to complete anyways. They will be eligible for a badging program, and that badging is through Credly and all of that. It's really exciting for us. We want to have students get more recognition for participating in the summer experience that will then be linked up to their LinkedIn account that Angie will be taking care of. We also have, and so your student will be required. We don't have the schedule right now because we are still working on meeting with the library to timeline out some of the events. And so we'll keep you posted. And as soon as possible, Angie will let you know what it's going to look like as far as the time of the day. We try to keep them around the same time of day so it's consistent no matter what. And if your mentee has to join them remotely, just know that that is an option. The thing they will be missing is donuts or pastries. So they, if they can't make it in person, but they want to do the Zoom option, which is what the education series was in the past, is a Zoom. They're welcome to join it. It will have somebody facilitating them as well online. So so don't worry if it's really hard, because we know some of our colleagues are up in health sciences. Maybe not as easy for those students to make their way to the library. The Marriott Library. The other thing that is in the calendar is a graduate school mini expo. One of the things we do partner with is a graduate school on this. You're going to be hearing from Dean Darrell Butt. Not you, actually, you don't need to go to this, just so you know, you don't need to attend any of this stuff. This is for your mentee. We have the graduate school mini expo, and that is from 12 to 4:30 on June 25th, the Alumni House. Really wonderful event to get them thinking about graduate school, because a lot of our undergraduate researchers pull very heavy from the STEM and medicine and health fields. Just know that we do try to stack the programming and speakers up, so then that way there are those folks there. But don't worry, because I am not a STEM medicine health person. We don't leave ourselves out either. So there will be some support and speakers to support those students. Your student is also required to present at the Undergraduate Research Symposium. That is on July 30th from 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Alumni House. Angie, can you just say very briefly anything else you want to say about the symposium?
Yeah, it is just such a lovely event. It is open to the public for students to just present their work, their culmination of the whole summer. And yeah, I think it's so fun. We always have such a great time. We have a photographer there to take pictures. And so it's not required that you come, but definitely highly encourage that you come and support your mentee.
Yeah, and then your mentee is required to submit to our journal, which I'm the editor with the staff and student. That's due on July 31st. Won't be published, just so you know, until December. So they'll have plenty of time if they want to rework that and so forth. If they want to submit an abstract, we're fine with that to full lengths. We welcome the whole thing. Most people do research abstracts though. And then also just know it has Creative Commons. And so it can get published elsewhere again. And that move out date is July 31st. I see Matt's hand is up.
I had a question about the undergraduate research symposium. Is that limited to the SPUR students, or can other undergraduates?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, actually in the summer, we invite everyone. And actually our summer program partners, our OUR program partners from across campus are having their students present at it. I think last summer we had 250 presenters from 82 different institutions. And so it is our most diverse, institutionally across the country, diverse symposium. So it's super cool. We do, if you have multiple students, try to keep your students together. So it's not so much work for you to have to go and find your mentee. So I just want to give kudos to Shelly, who's not in the Zoom, who has been really genius at making sure things are really easy for folks. But if you need any other kind of accommodations or support, just let the team know, because it's a poster presentation. And so just keep in mind, it's not an oral presentation, it's a poster presentation for your students, which Angie takes care of all those logistics and getting them prepared. Yeah, next slide.
And does
Oh, go ahead.
that count for
The
Europe
des
students and
Yep,
those kind of
yep,
things also?
yeah,
Right.
yes, and it counts for their designation if they want to get the undergraduate research scholar designation. Look at that. These summer researchers are getting all of it almost done. Yeah, great. Next slide. So some of the things that Angie's going to talk a little bit more about this, but one thing I just want to say is that research and research communities is not just about getting the work done. It's also about networking, building community, maybe even making a friend. Angie, do you want to tell them about this?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we, with our OUR program partners, we also schedule summer socials throughout the summer. And so this is for any student at the U that is doing research. And so it is not just limited to our SPUR students. And so in the past, I think last summer we had over 300 students attend our summer socials. And so kind of varies how many we have, actual socials we have. But in the past, we've done like bowling, volleyball. We had a program that hosted making liquid nitrogen ice cream. And so these are not required for students to attend, but are highly encouraged, and they always have food. So at the very least, students do walk away with a full belly. And so highly encourage students to attend. We do track these in our Master OUR calendar, and we will share it with you and your mentee. So it will make it super easy for everybody to keep track of it. But yeah, not required, but highly encouraged that all students attend.
And you're welcome to attend if you want to hang out with all these young folks and you have the energy to keep up with them, and no one's going to turn you away. But yeah, I think it's a really great opportunity for them to network with each other and build friends for life, we hope. Yeah, next slide. All right. So expectations of your students and what you need to know as SPUR faculty mentors. Angie, is this a you thing?
Yeah, I absolutely can.
Yeah, so yeah, go ahead. Why don't you do this? Because you know
Yeah,
what, Angie's going to be giving them this information, and this is Angie's job. So I
yeah.
should just let Angie tell us what she's going to be doing with them since this is an Angie thing. So Angie, take it away.
Absolutely. And so, just some logistics. As a reminder, all SPUR mentees are hired as temporary employees by the Office of Undergraduate Research. And so you don't need to worry about this because we do all of it. So once a student has accepted their offer to be your mentee, then it goes to us. So then what this process goes is we work with our embedded HR person here, and then we will work with them to get them hired. And so we will work with them step by step to make sure that they will get hired on time. Our embedded HR person, Miriam, she is absolutely wonderful. She will work with them, get them their I-9 appointment, everything they need to make sure that they are hired on time. And so you don't need to worry about this process. I will work with them, Miriam will work with them, and yeah, so if you are curious about that, yeah, we help them out throughout that.
And we are firm believers that a student's status should not prevent them from participating in an undergraduate research experience. And so please do know that should that come up, that the office is here to support a student regardless.
And so throughout the summer, you will also be receiving some semi-email communications from OUR, specifically from me. But we do like to check in with all of you throughout the summer just to kind of see how your students or your student is progressing. They do send them at their schedule to us, and so it's okay, if there's some deviation. But if there's anything major, issues coming up, please do share that with us. But also if there are great things happening, good news, we also do like to hear that as well. And so we do have that opportunity. It's usually following the pay periods that we check in with you. And so you'll be expect to hear us like 7th and 22nd of the month. But yeah, if there's any issues, concerns, if something is not business as usual, please let us know. But again, if good things are happening, we do also like to hear good news.
And one thing I just want to emphasize to my colleagues is that I think that if you are having struggles with a student and you're noticing it early on, I actually really want to encourage you to reach out sooner than later. I really, we do our best if we're in week 6 to 8 to try to get a student on track. No matter what, we want this to be educational for all, right? And we want you to have the best experience as well. And so if you are experiencing challenges, this is where, the mentoring of staff and peers can be supportive to a student, especially if you're finding that a student is having trouble with making regular deadlines, or is, communication doesn't just seem to be right, do see us as a resource. See me as a resource. I want you to be successful in supporting them. But also, we don't want you to feel like you need to elevate everything to us, right? Because we don't want them to feel like they're in trouble as well. But know that if they have concerns as well, we are going to be letting them know that they can also reach out to the office. Our goal is to advocate learning experience for everybody, and get students on track. But should there be a case where it is no longer amicable, like any work environment, we can always work with HR and the student on on that. But just know that's just something I just want to be transparent. Communication really matters, especially in these intensive 10-week periods. Next slide. Angie, keep taking it away.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, this is just for your mentee. We make this very clear to all students, but they are required to spend 35 to 40 hours a week on research work with you, but also all of the program-related activities that we discussed before, and that would be, the regular meetings that we have for badging program. That will be the mini expo. That will be when we do, our URS range submission, all of those things, but we will remind all of the students throughout the way, so they will not be left in the dark with all of that. But just as a reminder, and these are the research days, so these will be their official work days. So that will be May 19th through July 30th. And so that will be the time range where they will be expected to do that 35 to 40 hours a week. There are obviously university holidays. And so throughout this 10 weeks, that'll be May 25th, June 15th, July 3rd, and July 24th. Similar to us and them, students don't work on the holidays, and there is no requirement to make up those holiday hours. So as you are making those schedules, thinking about that right now, you can think about, how you can adjust your schedules, work around it, things like that. That way students aren't working, or you're not thinking about it when the summer comes. You've already planned around it.
And I want to just encourage my colleagues, can you please put the holidays in your calendars? Because I know that I oftentimes work year round all the time, even on holidays. And when I don't put it in my calendar, my team will be like, hey, Annie, we're not working that day when you've scheduled a meeting. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm so sorry, and I change it. So if it can spare you from some of those miscommunication, and especially since there's a power dynamic between you and your mentee, is just get it in your calendar. Because we don't want to have them be like, Professor so-and-so had me work on July 3rd. What do I do? And so just say student not working on those dates. Yeah. Next slide. And so Angie, sorry. Angie knows I love talking. So I love entering the conversation too.
Yeah. And so all of the required program events, and that's going to, again, we mentioned it before, orientation, mini expo, the badging meetings, all of these, again, we're going to have a master calendar. We will share it with your mentee. We will also share it with you, so no one will be left in the dark. They will also have to present at the research symposium. We've talked about that. They will have to submit to range. That will be due July 31st. We will prepare the students. We will talk to them well in advance, so everybody will be aware of this deadline. And they will also have to submit the final report, and that'll be due July 31st. I do want to clear up the final report is a bit of a misnomer. It is not a report like a paper they have to submit. It is really more of a survey that we ask the students to submit at the end of the summer. It's just really, we ask, what went well, what things we can improve on, things like that, things that they enjoyed, things that, things we can always improve on. We're always interested in knowing that. So again, if your student starts freaking out about final report, I don't know what it is, send them our way. We will clear it up with them. But again, it is a survey. It is not a paper report and nothing like that.
And you also will have a link for a report that we also invite you to fill out, because it gets included in your annual reporting. It's how I make a case to continue to renew the funds for the Office of Undergraduate Research and our summer program. So I appreciate it when our faculty are able to, amidst their busy schedules, fill out your own report survey. So please make sure you fill it out too.
Yeah, again, and this is just reminder of all these important dates. We've talked about them before, but here's a list in case you need a reminder again.
Yeah, we can just keep going on, Angie. And so we've already talked about how we've updated the badging series. We're going to be doing the education series as a badging series. So then that will, there's some information here if you want to read through it. It will be 8 meetings throughout the summer. We'll have that schedule with you soon. And it really is designed for students engaged with undergraduate research in the summer. Next slide. And we've already talked about the Graduate School Mini Expo. I really want to encourage you to have your mentee attend, even if they're not sure about graduate school, just so they can really make that decision for themselves. It really helps them to think about there's going to be other things in the programming that includes, resumes to cover letters and all of that. It's quite dynamic. So it actually is not just for graduate school. It is imagined for that. But whether somebody's going to go to graduate school or into the workforce after they graduate, I think this will really benefit them all. Next slide. And our symposium, we are going to be doing our symposium this summer a little bit different with the poster prizes. So if you were around last summer or in the spring, we usually have our poster evaluators give scores, and then a committee makes final determinations of who to award. But for this summer, we are going to have the students select the best in STEM, best in humanities and fine arts, best in wellness, health, and medicine, best in social sciences, and best overall poster. We're going to be doing an app app voting system. And so encourage you to all participate in that, but just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up that at the end of the symposium, the poster prizes will be announced. And so just keep in mind that it will go until 12 p.m., 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. And that's what we'll have a little bit of a point where we pause to recognize those poster prizes. Range, we've talked a little bit about, and just want you to know that if you have any questions about what your mentees are to submit, let us know. But like any publication, we do require bibliography, as well as we do require that it has been read by you. And so if you've not had a chance to look at it, it will get kicked back your way, and we're happy to share with you what your mentees submitted. So don't worry, we aren't going to see it as punitive if they forgot to send it your way, so you could take a look at it. But it is highly encouraged that you actually take a look at it before they submit, so we don't get those awkward emails of a professor saying, I need to reject this because I didn't even see this. Next slide. There's a range of ways that the office supports faculty. And so we've already talked a little bit about this mentor orientation. During this, it really is just a wonderful moment for all of us to regroup, remind you of the important dates. At this point, the whole schedule is going to be finalized. Also, we're going to hear from a speaker. I have a roster of some folks that I'd like to invite. We'll only hear from one of them, not a whole panel, but I'd like to invite somebody to give a talk during this Zoom event. And so if you have any kind of suggestions for things you would like to hear, please let me know, and I'll keep that in mind as I am inviting our speakers. And Angie will send you a calendar invite. The other thing we just want to remind you is that your mentees should be acknowledging the Office of Undergraduate Research as awarding them. You can include summer programs for undergraduate research, especially if they give presentations or if they publish as an outcome of the research that they do with you over the summer. But please remember to list your students in your elements, as well as invite your students to co-author. We know it varies by fields. It's not a requirement, but it is a good mentoring experience. And also for myself, who's co-authored with many of my students, I find it really fulfilling to see them work through that process as well. And tell us about your success. We started with success, but we also love hearing about it. We won't know about it if only your college or department announces it. And sometimes we see it, but we love when you directly give us a shout out or let us know, especially if you plan to publish or co-present with your mentee. Next slide. One is, as a reminder, if you aren't listed as a faculty affiliate, which actually you all should be listed already, you will automatically be a faculty affiliate now that you have been selected to be a SPUR mentor. We also have you in a database where future researchers can find you. So please check out your page as well. If you want to update it, let us know. We're happy to make sure it reflects what you think it needs to look like, since it might look like what we for the SPUR for recruitment. So you're welcome to update it. And if that's the case, just let Angie know. She can send you a link of what you can fill out if you'd like to update your profile as well. Next slide. One of the things we're super excited, it went really well last summer, is we do have a partnership with Farmingdale State University, Farmingdale State College. At Farmingdale State College, they have students who would like to participate in research, but they are unable to travel to participate in research. And so our agreement with them is that Farmingdale pays for your student to work with you from Farmingdale, from New York. And so what happens is that if, so consider all the applications first. But just know that if you're interested in also working additionally with a remote researcher, if they don't rise to the top, but you'd be interested in also working with a Farmingdale State College student, please do let us know. So then that way we can work with our partners over there to make sure that they are the ones supporting on the hiring end your mentee. But that student will not be traveling here. So just so you know, their students will be staying in Farmingdale. And so just let us know. If you can let us know by February 13, so then that way Angie can send the list of interested faculty. If we get an overwhelming number of you interested in working with a Farmingdale State College student remotely, then we will have to limit, since they don't have a never-ending pile of money to fund all the students. But just we will let you know once selected as well. It's actually, I think from the students, from what we've heard, it's been a really great experience. And if anybody here on the call worked with the Farmingdale students, did anybody here? I can't remember, Angie. Anyone here work with them?
Not here, not this
Yeah.
round.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. If you have questions about it, just send us a message, and we're happy to tell you a little bit more about it. But you gain a remote researcher if you'd like one. But we also understand that not all research lends itself for a remote researcher, and we can also walk you through the conversations and things we need to think about with affiliation and all that, so they can access libraries and stuff like that. Next slide. If you're applying for grants, I always like to give this plug. We can't give all the money away to students. We don't have all the money. So I do provide letters of support and letters of collaboration for any faculty who's going after their own grants. Get this, we also don't take your money from you. And Dave can tell you all about it. We leave your money with you. We don't need to take your money from you. But if you want to partner with the office, we love partnering with folks because we can't get all the money, and we also don't have all the expertise. You have the expertise. So we want to support that. So if you're interested in getting a letter of collaboration or a letter of support for an NSF, NIH, foundation, what have you, just count me in as a yes. I'm always super excited when colleagues want to hire and include in their budget undergraduate researchers. And I'm happy to support with a letter if that would help strengthen your application. Next slide. All right, so we are going to go ahead and just now stop the recording, and then we will go ahead and open it up for any final questions that folks might